Well, good evening, guys. And I dropped my mic. Yeah, I should hear the echo. We got Peter joining us tonight. I still got that echo. Oh man. Oh, hang on, bear with me. How about now? Better. Peter, welcome to the lounge.
Thank you. And where's the shark tonight? My brother, since we've been 11.
There he is.
There he is, the shark.
I was hiding, man. That's what sharks do. They swim around quiet like, and then they strike. Come on, guys. You know where I am.
So, what do you think of the price of gold and silver lately?
I truly believe what's going to happen, because you have to look at what the central banks are doing. I'm in the process with my co-author Adrian C. Spitters, who's out in Vancouver, writing a book called Killing Crypto. And what the argument is that there's going to be a reset, and all the large private all the large private central banks are going to switch over to backing their currencies by gold. And what they'll do is they'll devalue their currencies. They'll be able to wipe out huge parts of their debt, and the average person's going to be screwed. And this is what happens always when there's a reset. And what the reset means is that they basically inflate the dollar to deflate the dollar, so it's worth nothing. And those who are next to the new printing press, they will own everything.
That's very interesting. You should be careful of the info you give out. You know, you might disappear on us.
Well, it's really interesting. And Stefanos, you know this better than anybody. It's almost like they're telling us what they're doing, because you can go to any World Economic Forum paper, you can go to the UN, you could go to government sites in Canada, in Europe, in the United States, and it's right in front of our face. Because, for example, in the United States, the Commerce Department put out a paper a few months ago that they said that they want to revalue gold. Now, they can do that at any point, and they were talking about at least $20,000 per ounce. This is actually listed there. So basically, right now, just to put it into perspective, their gold is valued at $42. That's what it's valued on the books with the Federal Reserve in the United States. So if they were to bring it up to 20,000, they would wipe out several $trillion. Now there's conversations that it could go up to as high as $100,000 an ounce. And at that point, it just wipes out the entire U.S. debt. But what does that do to the average person? Your dollars are worth nothing. Your RSPs in Canada are worth nothing. Your 401ks are worth nothing. And one of the things that people should be concerned about is, if you are going to go out and buy gold and silver, you should vault it yourself. And the reason why, because the only things not known in history is a history that's not studied. And in 1933, on March 6th, when Roosevelt took power during the Great Depression, he seized all the gold, and he basically made it a $10,000 fine if you kept an ounce of gold. So to the bank, I just want to finish this, Ed. They went to the banks, they turned in their gold, they got $20 per ounce. 9 months later, Roosevelt reset the gold at $35. Boom. The U.S. government got a 69% lift, but the people who had actually had their money sitting in the banks, sitting in places where other people holding it, like the equivalent that, well, there was no such thing as RSPs or IRAs or 401ks, but anything that was at the bank, it was seized. So I know both you gentlemen sell gold and silver, and I highly recommend that your listeners, if you can't afford an ounce of gold, what is it today, Ed?
Oh, American was 4,200 change.
If you can't afford that,
US.
I'm going to suggest you buy silver. Now, let me share with you why, and then I'm going to shut the fuck up. Because the last time gold was seized, silver went up to 10% of what gold was. That means you have a greater lift in silver than you do with gold. What's silver trading at today, gentlemen?
It was $64 at one point. Closed at
64 bucks. So basically, think about that. If gold was to go up to, like, imagine if it was to go up to, let's say, $20,000, that means if you bought silver at 63 cents, it would be worth $2,000. It's a bigger rise. And I want to impress upon people, I have a paper that if you go to the website that's listed there, it's called Last Asset Standing, and we show the argument, and we actually have links to the actual document at the Commerce Department where they're talking about doing a reset for gold to $20,000. It's on their website. I'm not making it up because I am shitting bricks, and I've already seen what the government could do because all of us know what the government did back in March 2020, and the forced fake medicine, poison.
So in Canada, I think today I saw the 1 ounce coin, the Maple Leaf, $98.
Wow. Yes, and you know why? Because you can't get a hold of them. Can't get a hold of them. And I want to impress on your listeners this. You're going to go to your broker, and you're going to go and say, hey, I want silver, I want gold, and my RSPs, I want it in my investment account. Well, guess what? That's a piece of paper, because the piece of silver that they have, it's approximately 500 to 1,000 times it's been resold. So you got an IOU, and when you show up, there's going to be 1,000 other people lining up for that gold. So take possession of it. And Ed, I'm so glad that you pointed that out, that what it's costing, 98 bucks. The reason it's 98 bucks, because there's a premium, because there isn't any. But if you go to your bank, they're going to give you an IOU. That you want to know something? Why don't you come to me? I'll write you the IOU.
Hey, I took a few silver coins that I had in, and just to check them out. I didn't sell them off or anything. But that's exactly what they said. I get a premium on them, but it wasn't no 93 bucks. It was 163 and $154 for different. That's where they ranged in from. So, but I hear silver's going to shoot right up, but I also hear gold's going to go up, and I mean like 1,000% type of deal.
Yeah, but silver. Let me what I want to share with you, because it starts with gold, that your listeners can download for free, because we wrote it to educate people.
Oh, yeah, they can scan the QR code there.
They can scan that QR code and they can get it for free. So let me share this with you. We looked at the history of what happened during the last reset, and that was during the 1930s. And what caused it? The banks created so much money, there was a crash. They created so much money. We talk about the Depression of the 30s. What we forget is there was something that was called the roaring 20s. There was money all over the place. So what happened is the average Joe, like you, Shark, Steph, and you, Ed, gold became too pricey. But what people did, the average person, they bought silver. And you can buy silver from either Ed or from the Shark, because I know you guys are associated with New World Precious Metals.
So, Peter, explain to people what paper silver is and paper gold.
Pardon? Say that again, Ed. I'm old. I'm hard of hearing.
Have you ever heard the term rehypothecation?
What do you mean by that, Ed? Can you give me
It's talking about paper silver and paper gold.
Oh, yeah. That's all that's sold by the banks and RSPs and in investment accounts. Anytime, and I will point this out, anytime you don't have the piece of silver or gold that you can have in your possession, you don't have it. You don't have it. Take possession of it. I have a stat that I want to share with you that we did, our calculation, we did it starts with gold. And we sat, because we wanted to bring it down to the average Joe, the average Josephine, the average person. So Germany, after World War I, suffered rapid inflation where people were taking their money. They were being paid 5 times a day, every hour, because it was just their money was disappearing. It was worth nothing. So before that rapid inflation began, the average home in Germany was worth about $2,000 US. If you had sold your house in 1922, you would have got 100 pieces of gold. And when that rapid inflation ended 18, 19 months later in 1924, when they reissued the mark, you could have taken that 100 ounces of gold and gone back and purchased 20 homes. That is the power when there's a reset.
And that's coming out.
It's there. I am Canadian. I am wearing all my Canadian gear, you see, but I would never live in that shithole that you guys are living in right now. And it's not the snow. I don't mind the snow. It's the fact that it's communist. And what is communist? That is collectivism, which is a lie because it's about the elites and the people who control things. And we all know Mark Carney is the banker's banker. And for the world who might be listening, what happens in Canada isn't going to stay in Canada.
So again, earlier I was talking to you about, is there an echo?
I don't hear one.
Okay, I hear it on my side. Anyways.
You hear it on yours because you're not muting in between.
So rehypothecation, when someone takes gold and they sell the paper on that gold or they lease it to someone, and then that person who leases it, it's on their books and they lease it to someone else. And then that other person takes and leases it to somebody else. This is rehypothecation. This is why there's 300 ounces of silver on paper for every actual ounce. Any other input you give us on this?
I think you're right on cue, because in essence the message is this: get your silver, get your gold, and take possession of it. Get a safe, put it in a safe place. Don't go into crypto. Now, I just want to give you an example. In the book that we're writing right now about crypto, it's a scam. Everything that is actually part of crypto was either created by the US military or the NSA. Every single piece. And they wouldn't have allowed trillions of dollars to go into that because they can stop things tomorrow. But what happened is they released about 15 to 20 similar things to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin took off, and it was a problem reaction solution. And what do I mean by that? In 2008, we all know that there was like a financial collapse and there was an infusion of money from every single government. Oh, look who we have. Is that Kevin? Did I see Kevin J. Johnson?
No, that's just a banner that's been in there for years.
Okay, so I'm just like, I just saw. come up.
I'm trying to kick myself out of the studio and I can't.
Oh, well, please stay.
I'll kick you out.
So
Kick one of me out.
I just had a senior moment, Shark. What did I say?
You were going on about seeing Kevin.
No, before Kevin.
You're talking about crypto.
It's crypto, the military.
I want to just bring that up to people. Nothing exists that's not allowed, right? So they want to get us all digitized, right? Because the system's about to collapse. They want to control us, literally. And they want to go and get us all comfy. You know, when they were doing direct deposits in people's bank accounts with the money that they produced, and they produced more paper than ever existed in Canadian history in the United States, because it was about to collapse. So with the crypto, they're allowing it to be out there because they want to get people on stable coins, which is fascism, because it's not going to be directly the government, but it'll be directly linked. And the current president of the United States, well, his family set up to be one of the families of the world if that goes through. Like if people start moving to US1, which is his stable coin. Number two, while everybody's been taking their money, which is like a pickpocket, going into crypto, thinking it's the best thing in the world. They don't know that in 2017, because there's no trademark, there was a new crypto created. So the original crypto really isn't very tradable. They created another one, and that's the one that everyone has. In addition to that, every time you want to sell your crypto, you have to go on to a government run, controlled, created platform, and that happens to be the internet. And every single crypto is using the NSA's encryption system, which is SHA 256. So what's happened with governments during that time, especially central banks? Well, $7 trillion have gone into crypto. They're purchasing anywhere from 1,000 tons, and that's on book, to 3,000 tons per year since the beginning of COVID. They've been accumulating gold because they know something, because they get to set everything. When they know how to take money, because when money is created, it's only created through debt. That means you have to borrow. That means you need to take out a mortgage. They create that money out of nowhere. The one thing they didn't do is create the interest. So all they have to do is increase the interest, and then you're going to lose things. And those those entities like the, Black Rocks and whatever, who are probably like government to begin with, they're going to be able to take those assets, and they know that. So the closer you are in our current system to the printing press, the more assets you will accumulate.
Hold on. So you telling me the 3,000 XRP that I got today, I'm screwed?
Yeah, they can turn it off. And let's be very practical. Remember the hurricane that hit the Carolinas? Well, let's imagine you were so smart and you had a stick, and it happens to be a stick that wasn't corrupted, but you're going on the internet, so it's corrupted, right? It's like getting on the 407, right? You might not have a GPS and a tracker in your car. You might have a car before 1998, but as soon as you get onto the 407, they're watching you. Actually, they're watching you on the 401. They're watching you on the QEW. See, I am Canadian. I'm proving myself right now. So what happened when there was that hurricane, just real practical. Let's say people kept their crypto on a stick. Well, they would have been, if they buried it in their basement, they could go back and get their gold and silver, but all they have to do is turn it off. Because Stefano, when we did our research on It Starts With Gold, one of the things we discovered, and in Last Asset Standing and in Killing Crypto, which is the next book, there are only 10 nodes on the internet. You know, it's like there's like a hub, a juncture, that about 90% to 98% of all crypto trades, transactions happen through those nodes. Now, let me share with you about history, because all we have to do is look at history. During the Arab Spring, what happened is there was just one point of entry of the internet. So the government just snapped the internet and no one had internet. So if you have gold or you have silver in your possession, you have something after the lights go off, after they turn the switch. Because right now, these nodes are completely controlled by an internet system that is really ARPANET, which was created in 1969, wasn't introduced to all of us until 1995 when Windows came out, and we all know about Mr. Gates, right?
Well, I was doing BBSs before that stuff, but you know, so I think what I should be doing is like, I'm just gonna wait for it to go up a couple bucks, and then I'll just sell it all off, and I'll just buy it all in gold. If I buy it off myself, do I get a commission? That's what I want to know.
You get a commission, my friend, of course. Of course. And on top of that, I'm going to recommend to your audience, because gold is very expensive, get silver, because that's the poor man's gold. And it's not going to be a poor man's gold. It's going to, like, based on the projections, which the Commerce Department of the United States said, they're going to bring it up to $20,000. And traditionally, during times of crisis, the price of silver gets up to about 10 to 15% of what gold is. And one other thing I want to point out, silver has a utility. It's used in everything that we use in electronics and everything. So in essence, it has a utility, just like copper, just like nickel. These things, all, you don't have to have gold and silver, but the reason why you want gold and silver, because if you need to transact, people understand. And one of the things that Ed brought up that is absolutely important is you can go to a private mint and you can get something of silver, a coin of silver. The problem with that is that we don't know the purity. I wouldn't take a private mint's coin. I would take a maple leaf, a Kruger, or an eagle, a U.S. eagle, a South African Kruger, or a Canadian maple leaf. I wouldn't take one that came from a mint.
Okay, I got it. You're making me laugh here.
How so?
You're saying Kruger, right?
All right, Cougar.
For the young guys out there, it's not Cougar, all right?
It's a Kruger.
Yeah, when I was in Argentina last year, they preferred Krugerrands to Canadian maples, but they would take maple.
Well, it's just a suggestion, because you want to know something? We're all going to go out. The question is, how did we live? Are you enjoying yourself today? I am. I wouldn't be any. When Steph called me up and said, hey, would you do this? It's the only place I want to be in the world right now, because I'm enjoying myself, because we're at the end. Can I just share with you a metaphor that I use? We are like the Titanic is sinking. It is, who's doing meow baby? I like that.
That's not me, all right? That's not me. I don't do that kind of stuff.
Okay. Kelly. Hi, Kelly. I feel special now. I do. I've been working on my last book, the book that's coming out soon. I don't get out very much.
So when you go and buy crypto, it's put onto exchange. And where does that cash go?
What do you mean by that?
When you pay for a crypto, you pay with cash.
Yeah, and you have to be allowed to do it. One of the things that many people are telling me that when they try to go and buy it, the bank won't even allow them. And I got to share with you, the only reason the bank would allow is because the government permitted them. And if there's any example, going back to history, the government said seize bank accounts against patriotic Canadian, and they did it. So if the government is preventing or does not want people to buy crypto, they're going to prevent the banks, the bank-owned financial firms, from selling it.
Well, I have come across quite a few people lately who have been having problems with their crypto wallets, and they're not letting them even do any of that stuff because of the government, and they're saying like crazy stuff about them, and they're not, and then they have to struggle and fight in order to get it, or they got to go find another crypto wallet that will allow them to do it, because government's been interfering a lot. There's people saying that's not happening, but I've seen it. There's been quite a few, so they are already targeting people.
Well, I want to share something with you guys. Any of you lose your keys, misplace your keys?
Car keys.
So people are going to go and say, hey, go and get a stick. You're going to buy a stick from Amazon. You don't think there's a back door? Snowden in 2013 said the NSA has back doors on anything, right? Like it's like everything has a back door in it. Don't think it doesn't. So if you buy crypto, you don't think they can, as soon as you get on, they can seize it? I was reading a story where a person kept their crypto on their separate wallet, you know, which was separate from their computer, wasn't over at a, you know, like at one of these exchanges. And they went on and they had $500,000 disappear. You don't think they know who has crypto? Have you not studied AI? Like AI can slice through crypto as a hot butter to knife, because it was created. It's based on SHA, the encryption 256, which is the NSA created. And Snowden is still hiding in Moscow because he told us this. And what happened? Are people so like, do they have dementia? Do they not want to know? It's true. They don't want to know. Well, because all three of us, I just want to continue this. All three of us during COVID were yelling and screaming, saying, hey, don't take it. There's studies out there, even on like, there's studies that say this stuff is bad shit. And no one listened to us.
In 2019, they released a report that all the test subjects that they tested it on. So, you know, how did they already have this already going, right?
Oh, it's worse than that.
So in 2019, they released within 1 year of test studies that all the subjects they tested on had died. So I knew there was no way in hell. Well, I've never had a shot of any type to begin with, but I sure as hell wasn't going to start now, and especially not with something like that.
I'm doing nothing. You know, it's like if I get sick, the last thing I want to do is show up in a Canadian hospital. And the reason why is Canadians who've contributed, the first thing they're pushing for when they're elderly is to take medical assistance in dying. Why would you go to a place where they're actually pushing it? You go to Service Canada, and one of the problems is about getting MAID. Like right now, it's not immigrants who are taking MAID. It's Canadians who've contributed and their families that have contributed because they don't have money to pay these people out.
Yeah, look, the only shot I'm going to ever take is like a vodka or whiskey, but that's about as far as I'm going.
How many have you had tonight?
None, no shots. Just a couple of beers. That's it.
How about you, Ed?
Okay, you got to say it 3 times. Ed. Your mic's muted.
There you go.
Muted.
No, I'm nursing a nasty cold and maybe pneumonia or something.
Say that again, Ed.
I've been nursing some pneumonia, and I'm trying to get rid of this. So I'm not drinking right now at all. So
We need you healthy. I don't, it's interesting. I went back to Toronto. Steph and I had like the coolest day. Well, we had 2 really cool days. Well, 3 cool days, didn't we, Steph? So cool.
It was
we went up and we hung out with a cop. I can't give his name, but we hung out with a cop at Tim Hortons of all places in his break. And then we went to the Niagara, we went to the Niagara region, and we went to the former prison that Robert Land Academy, the military boarding school where they put young kids in. And we got to walk around, and we actually found the trees that we had to eat the nuts from because they starved us to death. They were giving us less than 1,000 calories a day if you were on punishment. And then the highlight of my trip. Do you remember, Steph, what the highlight of my trip was?
Yeah, we got to go over to Home Depot.
No, Dr. Rona.
Yes, Rona's always the highlight of the trip. You know that.
I know. That was like the highlight. I love Canada, but the reason I bring this up, Ed, because when I got back, I was sick for 6 weeks. They're spraying. There's got to be something wrong with Canada because I've been there twice this year, and both times I come back and I've had respiratory issues.
There's a question for you.
how do you think Chelsea got so rich?
Like, how is that not possible? I got to share with you guys something. I'm not proud of this, but I'm 56 years old. I graduate university at 23. I can't get a job on Bay Street. So what happens? My first job happens to be at a bucket shop. Do you guys know what a bucket shop is? Because I want to explain this to everyone. A bucket shop is really, they push shitty stock. And I'm going to make the connection soon to.
Hey, is that the Leo DiCaprio movie where they're doing those penny?
Yeah. That is it. It's called Boiler Room. So let me just share with you how it works. They start calling people who really don't know anything because they don't know about companies and stuff like that. And they basically said, hey, buy this stock. And they get them to get a few dollars in or whatever. And then it goes up. You know why? Because they're the ones who control the price. It's like me telling you that this is $5. And then I come back and I say, hey, I'm selling it for 10. The problem is I'm not, and no one else is buying it back. So let's continue. So what happens is they get these people to buy it. They keep on inflating the price. And then what happens is it drops. It drops down to, let's say, 4 cents. You lose your money. Well, guess what? If you look at all the transactions that happen in the major markets, who controls it? Well, BlackRock really controls it because they have something called the Aladdin system. And the Aladdin system, between what BlackRock controls and all the advice it gives to everybody, even governments, is controlling about $40 trillion. Did you hear that? 40 trillion. So they can actually decide when they're going to sell, when they're going to buy, how they're going to move it up. They're going to hide it out. I want to share something to you guys that you should take into consideration. This is an article that Adrian Seaspitters and I wrote. Last year, Chinese billionaires sold all their U.S. stock. They didn't do this in 2008. They sold it all quietly, and they went and they purchased, guess what metal? Take a guess, Steph.
Silver?
No! Close. Very good.
Copper? No, it's gold.
Gold. And why did they do it? I'm going to share with you why they did it. Because China happens to be the manufacturing hub of the world. So First of all, they're very frightened about what the U.S. has done, where they'll weaponize and they'll seize their money. So they're taking it out of the United States. That's number one. And there's certain tax laws that it's not even worth buying U.S. stock, because even if you're not a U.S. citizen or resident, you are a U.S. taxpayer with estate planning. Now, number two, why they did it is because they are the manufacturers of the world, and they know when slowdowns are happening a year before because orders go in. So yes, they do know. They have access to information that you and I don't have. And I want to share with you a story, real life story. I was a stockbroker. I was a financial advisor. I'm an old, I can say it. Can I say it, boys?
Go ahead, let it fly.
Can I say, I'm an old fuck. I'm turning 57. I'm a fucking old fuck. Look at my gray hair. I'm fucking bald. So it's 1999. 1999. And I'm taking the elevator and the first Canadian place. You know, the one in Toronto that used to be the tallest building? Right now, they're building new prisons that are like 90 stories, right? Because there's not enough land and they're putting people in little prisons where it's about 300 square feet. They live in those things. They're going to be a 15-minute city in Canada. And I'm taking the elevator down. And there's these two old ladies. And this is 1999. And one of them is talking about how her broker, she told her broker to buy this Yahoo. Now, let me share something about it. This woman did not use the internet, did not have any idea, but everybody was talking about it. So as soon as someone starts talking about a stock, you know, you got to look around for the loser, the sap, the sucker. And you want to know something? It's you. Because if you're hearing this from some friend, from stockbroker, from your dentist, from whoever, from the Toronto Star, the Globe and Mail, from the the CBC, the communist-controlled network of Canada, it's already happened. I want to share you another story. There was a gentleman, I'm not going to say his name, not saying his name. He's on Shark Tank. He, you know, this guy here, he basically would push things on CBC. He would push them on CBC. They had to get rid of him. They even got him off of Dragon's Den. But smart boy he is. You know, there was a really big expose in the Globe and Mail. And just before it came out that he wasn't a billionaire, he was worth about $6 million, which isn't a lot. I would love to have $6 million, right? But he was being put out there as a billionaire. He went down to the States. And on that program, Shark Tank, people loved him because he was a good talker. And I want to share something with you. Whoever's telling you this, what's their background? Do they have insider information? Because if they don't have insider information, you are the fool.
Yeah,
I'd rather buy something I can touch. If I'm going to buy a business, it's going to be something that I control.
I'll cut you in Argentina when I get mine up and running. But look, don't they do things like push rumors and stuff just to inflate a certain stock, and then they sell when they get it up to whatever they can, flood it, and then it just crashes and everyone gets screwed?
Every scam in the world, but I'm going to go to two things that I think are helpful for your listeners, because I'm a reader. And there was a gentleman, his name was Sir John Templeton. He had a Tennessee accent, but he became a knight of England. Can you believe it? And there used to be a big meeting in Toronto where 1,500 brokers and financial advisors would show up. And he's been gone for a number of years, but he said the first thing that people should read if they're going to be buying stocks is a book that was written in 1827, which was called Popular Delusions, Madness of Crowds. And in that book, they talk about the South Sea bubble. They talk about tulips. They talk about how, I like your dog, how there's this frenzy and the price goes up and it drops to nothing. And people throw out caution. And he talked about that. And number two, about one of the last meetings that he was alive that I was in was 1999. And they had something called the Templeton Global Fund, Templeton Growth. It was their largest fund. And if any of you have seen the mountain chart, it shows $10,000 would be worth about $15-20 million from the inception of that fund. Very, very powerful. Very few people have made that money. Well, they showed that fund, and it was worth, like all the companies that were involved that had invested in, $418 billion. Well, the one stock on the S&P 500, which was Cisco, no one even hears about Cisco anymore. It was worth $452 billion. Now, let me share with you the really interesting thing about this. The Templeton Fund, only at that time when you had like technology funds that were going up 200-300%, just crazy, right? And then they dropped to like almost zero. And the NASDAQ took 18 years to get back to where it was. And most of the NASDAQ are just 7 tech companies. Everything else hasn't been moving, like on the Dow Jones. What was interesting is they showed the real earnings, and that's all that matters. It's not the price, hoping that someone's going to take you out. It's what is the stock paying an income to the people who are actually owning it. So Cisco, that was trading for $452 billion, that was the valuation on the stock market, was earning only $1.8 billion. That's a lot of money, but guess what? It would take like 250 years for that stock, based on that, to earn like the pay for what you paid for it. And their portfolio was worth, get this, $418 billion. It was worth a hell of a lot less. It was like $34 billion in value. But those stocks were earning $37 billion. So you want to know something? It's not about what something's worth, because when things go shit, all you worry about is cash and cash flow. And that's what you want. And you want to know something? Do that by investing in yourself. Do that by investing in other people. And do that by reaching out to both the shark and Ed and get your gold. Or silver.
Silver, gold.
Copper.
Yeah. Copper. I don't know. Copper. No, I don't sell copper. Don't buy copper, guys. No, forget it.
Yeah, but the shark sells gold and silver.
Yeah, so and all of this stuff, is there like stuff like you can do safe stocks? You got anything like, I know a lot of people are cautious. Is there anything that they can consider safe? I know stock market's never safe, but
I'm going to say it. The Chinese billionaires took in 2008, when the market crashed, they went and bought American stock. In 2024, at the last quarter of 2024, they sold everything and they purchased gold. Like, that should say it all, because they know what the factories are. We know we're at the end of the financial system. We're at the end. And again, I'm going to impress upon your audience, the only thing that actually counts is the studying of history. Because guess what? It might be new to us, but it's not new to humanity. It isn't. And in the late 1200s to the early 1300s, there was a massive empire, which was the largest empire in the world. It was called the Yuan dynasty. And they were the first ones to switch over to paper. paper. They were the first ones. And
Oh,
it
I
ended up
didn't know that. I thought they drew up like bills and stuff like that in
well, they had a printing press.
and stuff.
They came up with the printing press. They had stamps back then. The Chinese were more advanced. If you showed up like 1,000 years ago, you know, people would think China was the place, and that should be the lesson because they were advanced. In Europe, they were living in caves practically, like they were living in the Dark Ages, from what we're told, because I don't know what history really is. I wasn't there. But what happened is it collapsed. And the Ming dynasty showed up, and it was only a third the size of the Yuan dynasty, and they went back to gold and silver, specifically silver. So you need to study history, because the only thing's not known is history, not studied. And I'll share this. If you want to know where you are, you have to know where you come from. And that's the only way you can prepare for where you plan to go. One last thing when I'm going to shut up, gentlemen, because I want to listen to your insights, is the sad thing is there was a movie that came out that was called 51 Dates with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler. And the premise of the movie is he falls in love with this woman, and every time she wakes up, she's got amnesia. She doesn't even remember him from the day before. Well, that's humanity. Every generation thinks this is the first time. You want to know something? Learn history. Don't go to the internet. I'm going to tell you, the internet is being rewritten. Like the Mandela effect. They're controlling the information we have access to. Go to a library and hopefully they still have those books.
That's why they're getting rid of all the books. So you can't
get rid of them, man, because they can rewrite history. 1984. That's what they said. Rewriting history, getting rid of books.
That's it, and that's what they do. So I have no insights because we're coming up to 10 o'clock. I don't know how long Ed wants to run. So you know, I'm an insightless guy. You should know that by now.
I love you, Steph. You're my
I never have insights.
That's okay. Well, you guys, like, as long as you want to go, as short as you want to go, I feel very honored again to be on your program. And there's a question: how does gold or silver allow you to trade if we are digital? I'll tell you how. People will prefer that. In countries like Argentina that Ed went to, when they were having rapid inflation, they would take gold over their currency. There will be a black market. There will be people, but it's legal tenure. It's not a black market unless they make it illegal to own it. But that's what happened in the Soviet Union. Nobody wanted at the end the ruble. They wanted dollars because it was supported by the petrodollar, not anything real, because it was a belief system. They're going to want something real. And I want to tell you, I want real. I don't want to have some cyber girlfriend. I want someone who actually lies in my bed. I don't want to have a promissory note for gold and silver. I want to be able to hold it. And so should you.
I'll take the cyber girl because they're less of a headache. And if you want to get my cyber girl, just message me. I'm not picky.
You're just too cheap. You don't want to feed them.
That's right. Even McDonald's is too much for you, right, Steph? Well, where you're living right now, there is not a McDonald's. So
there you go. There's no McDonald's.
Perfect. You're gonna lose weight. Yeah. Anyways, as far as gold goes, I bought a bit about 3 years ago, and silver, I've more than doubled my money.
I did, and you want to know something? The sad thing is my ex-wife tripled her money off of my stuff. And she didn't let me buy. I wanted to.
I don't need to laugh, but it is a funny story.
Well, that's another story. One day we'll talk about. I don't want to talk about it. You want to know something? I'm a smart guy, but once someone said to me something that made sense. He said, God made man almost perfect, but he didn't give him enough blood to fill both heads at once.
So true.
Oh, true. I've lived it twice. I'm single.
You're gonna
But I do want to say this, gentlemen. I might be single and I might be close to broke or a lot broker than I was before I believed in romance. I live in San Diego, women.
Right, this is tonight's lounge dating show. This is our dating episode, guys, girls, and okay, maybe not guys, but girls.
Someone called me a man whore.
No, they're calling me a man whore. Come on.
Forehead slap.
Oh man. Yeah. So, how far do you think silver is going to go in the next few months?
I could never tell you. It's like if that was the case. They had a lotto here about 3 months ago that was $1.9 billion. If I could tell you something like that, Ed, I wouldn't be talking to you. I'd be down in Argentina right now, partying with my buddies. But what I do know is there's papers out there that they saying that they'll reset on the books for the U.S. government the price, what they value their gold and silver at.
They're talking about gold going up in within the next 5 years. They got projections saying it's going to go up about $8,900 in the next 5 years.
Well, I'm going to do a quick calculation because I want to share with you something. Okay, so give me a second. You guys just talk.
So I wonder if this calculation's got anything to do with the $50 high we had in 1980.
When the Hunt brothers with the silver?
Yeah. And then again in 2011, it almost hit $50. If you take inflation and adjust $50 back in 1981, it works out to about $330 in today's dollars US. So silver at $64, I think it's still got a long way to run.
It's like we just have to look at what happened the last time.
Hey Ed, your mic is like, I don't know what you've done to it tonight, but as you talk, it after a couple of words, it like cuts out and then comes back in. So you might have some noise cancellation, a little too much.
The dog played with my audio settings.
Sure, blame Bubba's gonna sue you for defamation. I'm representing her.
All right, how about now?
Okay, guys,
That sounded better.
Okay, Peter, what are you going to say? Where's your math?
Okay, I got it for you, right? Gold in September in 2000, just before 9/11, was trading at approximately $290 an ounce, and now it's trading at close to $4,300. You know what that is? That's a $1,372 increase.
And that's what they're talking about, it going up again. Possibly higher.
But silver has a higher percentage because silver, if it becomes what it did before, because I am only looking at the past doesn't tell me the future, but during the Great Depression, when they seized the gold, and people were running around, silver went up to the price of 10 to 15% of what gold was. And the thing that happens to be really interesting is Ed brought up a very valid point. You might want silver, and this is what they're showing it being traded at. And one thing that most people don't understand is the reason why silver and gold prices haven't gone up even more is because exactly what Ed was saying. People write pieces of paper that are not even real. They suppress it. So the governments and the people who are buying it, they're going out and they're buying the real asset, and they're allowing idiots to buy crypto because crypto is not real. And eventually when that crashes, and Buffett made a very valid, I don't like Buffett, but he made a very valid point. He said so much of this crypto is bought on leverage. It basically, people were being completely wiped out as soon as it drops a little, and that triggers it to fall even further because there's more and more margin calls. These people
right.
went into this, they're buying something that's not real.
Well, explain to people what a margin call is.
A margin call is you borrow money. I put down $1,000. I buy $10,000. It drops debt, and they require that I need to, let's say, have, like 10%. As soon as it starts, it drops to $9,000. Sorry, it drops. I put 1,000 in. It drops to 9,000. They do a margin call. They say we're selling it. They'll tell me when it gets to 9,300, you better give us more money, or we're going to sell it. So basically, you wiped out all your, the money that you invested in. Now, the upside is, if I put in $1,000 and they lent me $9,000, hey, I made it. If it goes $11,000, I just doubled my money. But guess what? We're at record highs, and the only place it can go down. And what happens is when there's margin calls, it forces more people to have margin calls, and that's how we have a collapse. And you know what? Because we have all this trading. And again, history. If you go back to Black Monday, which was caused by a Friday, there was a trigger that happened in the stock market, and they had to shut down all the trading computers, because if they didn't, all the trading would crash the market down to zero. And that's why they call that Black Monday.
It was 1987 or 1988?
No, this was in 87.
I remember
the market dropped 24% within like 2 hours, and they had to shut the trading because it kept on cascading. Like as soon as it got to another level, more sales happened. It was just going to constantly cascade until there was nothing, because there were no computer breaks. And what happens now, it existed. I haven't followed it. 87, I was a young pup with hair and thinner and single and naive about life. But they for a number of years, every time there was a drop, they would put a break to all trading.
So back in those days, shortly after that Black Monday, there was a joke going around, and we used to tell it to each other in bars. So the question was, how do you get your stockbroker's attention?
You leave your stockbroker and you go and visit Adrian C. Spitters. That's what you do, because you need to get your money out of the fucking financial industrial complex. Your broker is an idiot. He's an idiot, because if he works for someone, he doesn't have an independent mind. And number two, if you have a broker who works at a large firm, that meant he was forced to do what? Guys, tell me, what was he forced to do during COVID? Come on, say it to me. Say it out loud. Let's say it together. What was he forced to do? Yeah. So you're going to go to an idiot who bends the knee, who goes and does what someone tells him to do? That person is going to be the first person to sell you out, because they have no character.
So one of the things people might not be aware.
I'm sorry, I'm not in Canada. You can't take my license away. I said it. That's it. What can I say? I'm not
when you buy stocks through a brokerage
again. You call home. Sorry.
When you buy stocks through a
Maple
brokerage,
Leafs have never won in my entire life. Never. I'm embracing my ball.
65.
Yeah, because I was born in 67. I'm sorry, Ed. You got to see them. You got to see them. Me and Steph, we've been cheated our entire lives. The only time they got close was in 92. And they lost to the LA Kings. And you know what really sucks? which was good. LA, which beat us, lost to Montreal because the last time goddamn Canada won a Stanley Cup was that year. And when was that? That's like 33 years ago. It's going to be 34 years since Canada has brought home a Stanley Cup. Canada is gone because they can't even win. They can't even win their national game anymore.
Wait, didn't the teachers union buy them at one point? And
No.
did they sell it or did they keep it? I think they bought
You
the
know how stupid Torontonians are? It's the most expensive valued team in the league, and they haven't won since 1967.
That's because if they lose, they make more revenue for the city because everybody comes there. So of course they're gonna lose. And
the wide thing, it's like they've sold out everything. It's like there's like the catch area is, I don't know, like 10 million people for that team. Then they end up putting the Senators in just to sort of have the overflow.
Well, all I gotta say is this: I got this over you. All right, you'll never be able to take this from me. When we were at Robert Land Academy, my dad brought his team, and that I played on. So our team, and we beat.
Traitor.
That's it.
Anyways, when you buy stocks through a stockbroker or brokerage, once upon a time you used to get those stock certificates mailed to you.
Thank you.
Not anymore.
Thank you.
What happens if there's a crash today?
I'll tell you what happened. This is really interesting because it happened around the world. There's something called the Canadian. So there's a Canadian Investment Depository. In the U.S., it's the Depository Trust Corporation. And it's an interesting story, boys and girls. Let me tell you a little story about the CIA involvement in owning all your stock. Let's sit on it's Christmas. I'm going to tell you about the new Grinch.
Okay, Santa, let us have it, Santa.
Okay. The story goes like this. There was this guy, his name was William Denzer. He is recruited by the CIA when he's the head of the National Students Association in the United States. And it came out in 1967 that he was bought by them, and he brought them to influence against like whatever they considered anti-American activities. Well, in 1956, he officially joins the CIA. Isn't that interesting? We're getting better, guys. This is this guy, William Denzer. This guy here is a character, right? Well, he ends up going to Peru, and he puts together how the United States uses foreign aid to control and pay off dictators around the world to make them, client states. Well, there's an overthrow in 67. This guy, William Denzer, who's CIA, gets brought in to take over the banking of New York State. And he wants to go and dematerialize the entire financial industry, meaning you had those pieces of paper. Well, in 1971, he's appointed to start off to create the Depository Corporation. And he's appointed by the head of the Securities Exchange Commission, where all securities are traded. And the man, and I'm going to test you, Ed, the man who appointed him, who is the head of the SEC, was a man named William Casey. Come on, Ed, who is William?
Why does that name ring my bell?
I'm going to tell you guys, because this is my Christmas story for your viewers today. So those who don't know who William Casey was, who was the head of the Securities Commission of the United States, who appoints William Denzer, who was CIA, he was also CIA. He worked.
Oh, hold on. Wasn't he a lawyer too?
No, well, yes, but let me tell you a story because I don't want to confuse people. So who is William Casey? William Casey was part of the OSS, which became the CIA during the Second World War. He was very active. He was in the financial part of the CIA. He supposedly left the CIA and took over the Securities Commission, and then he appoints this William Denzer, who is also CIA, and then William Casey gets appointed by Ronald Reagan to be the head of the CIA. And if those of you who do not remember, because you're not old farts like Ad and the Shark and me, Iran-Contra. So you want to think that your finances are not being controlled? They are. And that's why you got to reach out to these gentlemen and get gold and silver, because it's a Ponzi scheme in there. And I want to share one last thing with you about the pieces of paper. They got rid of the pieces of paper because what they did is they basically, like the internet in your phone, you're taking the camera, I'm able to take pictures, but they're also taking pictures when you're on the toilet, and they're actually they're giving you these little toys, but they're basically getting you all ready, like Hansel and Gretel, they're all, she's giving you cake and all that stuff, but they're getting the witch is getting ready to eat them. You remember that story, guys? That's what they do with your phone and your technology. So they basically took away stock certificates. This part of the Christmas story, they took away ownership of stock certificates, bonds, everything, bearer bonds, and they made it electronic, and you became something which is called a beneficiary owner. You are no longer an owner. So let me explain what that means, boys and girls. This horror story, the new Grinch that stole Christmas. That means as long as things are good, they'll let you trade your owner, like your dibs on your stock. They will also allow you to get dividends and things like that, but you don't own it. And how do we know that? Because in 2008, when Lehman Brothers went bankrupt, Morgan Stanley was the main secured creditor, which is a backed bank from the Fed, got all the assets. All the people who had money at Lehman Brothers, lost it. And what the government did is they covered those losses. But when they end up having a cascade of money falling down, when everything starts collapsing, you're not going to get any money. I just wrote an article which I looked at in the United States, the federal insurance, the FIDC, and in Canada they have the CIDC, and that's when they say $100,000 in your account in Canada is insured. Well, in the United States, supposedly $17 trillion is insured by this fund. You know how much money is sitting in that fund? Take a guess, Steph. Ed, take a guess.
I don't know, a few trillion. I don't know.
Probably nothing, but they officially say it's $120 billion. So when the system starts cascading, guess what? I wish you would buy paper from me, but I don't have, I'm not a psychopath. So I'm going to recommend that all of you, thank you very much. I look like Don Cherry. He's got a little more hair than me.
No, sound like Don Cherry.
Oh.
But you got to use you people a little bit more, okay?
You people. I'm from Toronto. I'm saying it. Toronto. And guys, soon I'm going to have to go to the washroom.
Okay, so the answer is less than 2%.
Pardon?
Less than 2% is held by the CDC.
Yeah. So honestly, if I wrote you paper and I had only 2% to cover you, would you take my paper?
Another reason.
Common sense, just because it's a government. And who trusts? Seriously, Ronald Reagan said the scariest words ever are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Think about that.
Yeah, it's always horrible. That's when they cause something severe. But hey, look, guys, if there's any Toronto Maple Leaf fans out there that want a Felix Potvin card, just let me know. I'll sell it to you. Just
I
give me-
like the hat. I wear this because
All right.
letting people. So I'm putting my hat back on.
I got to peddle my wares here. I'm trying to make a buck, okay?
Okay. I'm not selling my hat.
All right, Peter, thanks for jumping on.
You guys are great.
We're trying
Always
to get,
great.
next week we're going to try to get someone on from New World Precious Metals.
Oh, Bryce. No, you should get Warren.
Yes, we'll have. No, Warren's coming on, not Bryce. Warren's coming on.
Yeah, Warren's awesome.
Hey, you would like to come on with Warren? Would that be a good thing or no?
Yeah, I love Warren and his daughter Olivia. They're like almost like family. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know them, but Ed, you can send Peter, I guess, a link, and we'll get everybody on.
And I'm going to be wearing my Blue Jays hat.
Party.
Can I leave a story with you guys? I want to leave a story because this is something for Canadians, right? So I live in San Diego, and I'm wearing my Blue Jay hat, and they have the Padres, so everybody's going like this because I hate the Dodgers. And then on November 1st, I had to go up. I flew up to San Francisco, and everybody, they got their own teams, right? And they're all going like this to me. And then I'm sitting outside. I'm eating a hot dog. There's a big screen. I'm watching the Jays. They're winning, but I have to go to the airport. So I get to the airport, and I'm there. And now everybody's watching in the airport the game. It's the first time that everybody where I am is now cheering for the Dodgers, not the Jays. And then it dawned on me. I'm in an airport. They're all going back to Los Angeles. And you know what happened? After the 10th inning, I sort of looked like this. I sort of lost my hat. Guys, you've been wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
You could have lost your shirt, so it's only a hat. So don't worry about it. It's not that big a loss. What happened to you anyways? You used to be really good looking, really cute. You had a whole head of hair.
I'm sorry, man. I saw your pictures too.
You had beautiful lips. I don't know what happened to you.
I don't know. It's like, you know what it is? It's called age. It's like, what can I say? My kids are good looking. I'll live vicariously through them.
Oh, well, there you go. So my boy's good looking too, but
Yep.
They get looks from us, so they can't say anything.
Yeah.
Peter, what's the line to Ed?
Ed.
Peter, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you in a week again.
See you guys.
See you, Peter.
All right, Stefanos. Final comments. What are you doing Monday night?
What's that? Sorry?
What are you doing Monday night?
I'm going with you, Ed, and this is what I was going to say. Look, people, if you're in around the Wingham, Lucknow, Godridge, all those areas, get the hell out to North Durham Council meeting on Monday night. We got a bunch of communists in power there, and we need cameras. We need cameras to record us because we'll more than likely be arrested that night. We're going to stand up for all Canadians' constitutional rights. And I'm getting really sick and tired of doing this because no Canadian stands up for their rights. And that's why we are in this position we are in now. You shouldn't leave it up to me and Ed or whoever. But you got to take a damn stand. They cannot prevent you from recording public meetings. We need people with us filming. We're going to be recording that meeting. Let them trespass, handcuff us, arrest us. The law is on our side. We've done this over and over. The case law is set in stone. We got to stop this crap. Communism has creeped in all over the place on all levels of government. We got to put an end to it. You got to stick up for your constitutional rights or you're going to lose them. This is the erosion of them.
All right, so you got an address for us?
Did you say a mattress?
An address.
No, I don't have an address. It's North Durham, or sorry, North Huron is the council place. I believe it's supposed to be an arena or something like that. But look it up. Google will have it up there. North Huron Municipal Meeting. That's where it's going to be.
You know what? When you find the address, why don't you post it on your Facebook page?
You started cutting out again. Thank you, Daniel.
When you find the address, you're gonna have to post it on your Facebook page.
Oh yeah, I'll post it up there for sure. Absolutely.
All right, yeah, bring some people from the churches.
Bring people from all over. It applies to every single freaking Canadian, no matter if you're a communist, not a communist, whatever. Doesn't matter how you're aligned. Here, let me tell you a quick story. I'm going to pull a Peter on you all. Let me tell you a quick story. So, when we were challenging the unlawful gun grab by the Liberal government, and we were representing several people, I got a lot of support from a lot of people, and I was messaged by a lot of people and emailed. I actually got emailed by a liberal, staunch liberal supporter, hardline, who has a gun shop. Can you imagine that? A liberal with a gun store? That would have gave Justin Trudeau a heart attack if he would have known that. But he made it very clear, 100%. I'm a libertarian. He's a liberal. But still, we need to get together on things like this, is his words. Because at the end of the day, it affects everybody. And be it the gun laws, be it your constitutional rights, be it your local municipality, be it your provincial, federal governments. Look what's going on with the federal government tightening the clamps on the internet and everything. They've already restricted us from being able to share news. Why, you know what? Why hasn't any one of these freaking prick communist mainstream newspapers and everything challenged that law? Because obviously it's unconstitutional. So why would you not stand up and bring a challenge? These guys got multi-millions. Is it because you got that, what was it, 64 million payout? Toronto Star got given 500 million from Doug Ford to keep them alive and rolling, and to push it to be his propaganda machine. There's a lot of people need to freaking wake up in Canada, and this is why it's so far gone to the point of no return. I'm glad I'm not going to be able to see the end of the shit show on this, but this is the last thing I'm doing for all of Canada, all Canadians, and sticking up for our constitutional rights. And then I'm out of here forever.
All right, Stefano, see you next Thursday.
All right.
I will see you Monday night.
Yeah, we'll see each other. We'll share a cell together. Just don't drop the soap and don't try to make me drop it either, all right?